Last time we already created detail page, and now we are going to add the delete function to this button. And first, at the delete buttons in the detail page, we are going to add the ID is equal to delete button. And then before the end of the body, we are going to add the script. And under the script, we are going to select the delete button and we add the onClick event. And then the first thing is we are going to prevent the default actions, which is if we do not add this line, it will refresh the page after we click the buttons. So now we are going to console.log delete button. Now we go to the page and refresh, and then we try to click on the delete button. You can see it already pop up the message here, so which means it worked. In order to get the ID, we also have to pass the data ID here. So now we pass the items document ID. So we type item._ID, and then we use the % and close the angular bracket. And then we can get the ID by using constant. ID is equal to delete button dot dataset dot ID. So now we can try to log out the ID to see whether it works or not. We refresh the page and click on the delete. Now you get the ID. There are many ways to get the ID. The other ways to get the ID is using the get attribute method, which is equal to e.target.getAttribute. And since we used data ID, so now we pass the data ID here. Now if we refresh the page and click on this also can get the ID. So now we turn on the original method, and now we are going to create the endpoint items, and we pass the ID. Now we back to the server, and then we make the delete request. Now we are going to create the delete handler, and this is actually very similar to this, so we can copy and paste here, and we are going to change this to delete. And instead of find by ID, we are going to use the find by ID and delete, and then we can delete this. Now we back to the item detail page, and after we have this endpoint, we can use fetch, and then we pass the endpoint, and then we specify the method is delete, and then .then, and then we use .catch to catch the error. So now if we refresh the page, and then we press delete, and then we go back to the home page, and now you can see the phone already deleted. And maybe we can also choose another items, and then we press the delete again, and then we go to the home page. You see it just have one item left. Now we are going to the app.js, and then we are going to try to do the same things like before. So after it delete, and then we go to redirect to the home page, and then we try again. You can see it do not redirect to the home page, and this is because this request is not from the form. For example, in this post request, for example, if we post the new items, we are posting from the forms rather than like this time we are going to use the AJAX request to make the delete request. So this make this redirect to the home page not work. So in the next part, we are going to fix these problems.